Hi Scouts, Activity 2 as part of your activity pack is the Coke can burner. So from your activity pack you will need the can of Coke, and it needs to be empty so you can drink it if you like, and the tea light that was in your pack. You'll also need some additional equipment and you will need some adult supervision and help with this. So let's show you what else you need. You will need a drill with a drill bit, some scissors, a Stanley knife, a pen, your Coke can and tea light, a Stanley knife blade separate, and some varying bits of wood with different heights. So it takes quite a bit to do, but it is fun and it is a great bit of equipment for your survival tin. So let me show you how we make it. Okay, so the first two things you'll need is your Coke can and your Stanley knife. Please be very careful and have some adult supervision while you do it. And if need be, get the adult to do this part for you. Okay, so the aim of this is we need to cut this top section out of the can. So the way we do it is with the Stanley knife, and we just slowly score around the lid, moving the lid round bit by bit. Keep going, not too hard, but just keep going round. And every now and then it'll start to bite, which means it's cutting through. And we want to try and get this out in one full piece. So just keep going until it comes out. Okay, so after a couple of minutes of scoring round, I managed to get the lid out, and you should be left with something that looks a bit like that. As you can see, there are a few sharp edges, so just be careful, and those can be pressed down at a later stage. So now on to the next stage. Okay, for this section, we need to cut off the tops and the bottoms of the can. So this section and this section, and this will make the main chassis of your Coke can burner. So what you need is your Stanley blade and the thickest piece of wood out of the two that you have. Okay, and the simple thing is you just rest your blade on the piece of wood, leaving it exposed a little. Okay, and then we want the top half of the can for this piece, so we place it down, and it's just a case of rotating it round and round, and it will slowly score a line around your can. Okay, so just keep going. It will bite every now and then, similar to the top where it says it's cutting through, and just continue until you've managed to cut all the way through. Okay, as you can now see, we've managed to take the top off, so you're left with the top half and the rest of your can. So what we now need to do is cut the bottom half of the burner, because this piece is the top part of the burner, so we now need to cut the bottom piece, and you do exactly the same, but you make the bottom piece ever so smaller. So if we look at the two bits of wood, there's a slight difference in the width of them, and that's important. Okay, so we will crack on and do exactly the same to the bottom half of the can. Be careful, because this top edge here will be very sharp. Okay, so if you've got a glove or something, put that on, or grip around the side. Again, just be very careful, ask for your parents' help. Okay, so if we start this one, again, same technique, just spin it round, slowly scoring the edge. Okay, slowly scoring it as you go around. Okay, nice and careful. And again, could take a couple of minutes, could be a bit quicker. Just keep going, take your time, because you want a nice smooth edge. So we have our three parts: the top, the bottom, and now this bit we've just cut to make the centre. So we want to roll that round and see the bottom section of the can has a little inner rim, and we want to sit that within there, so you can create a little gap between the two. But obviously this is too big, that won't fit on the top, it will sit higher, so we now need to cut this to a decent size. So if we sit that on, and we want to be, the top wants to be able to sit in just a little bit, so you need to make a rough mark of where you think that's going to be. So I reckon I need to cut off a couple of centimetres. Okay, so use your bit of wood or a ruler, simple as, and just draw a straight line across the tin foil where you think you want the line, That's where your pen comes in. So draw it across. Okay, better to do too little cutting off, because if you still need to cut a bit more off, you can. Again, with this stage, be extra careful because obviously the edges will be sharp. So as you can see, I've drawn the line and I'm now just going to cut along it. Okay, now you've got your perfect shape and width. So you now grab your base and you squeeze it round into a coil and fit it into the bottom of the can, like so, making sure you've got the gap between the two. Yeah, that's important. Okay, so keep this pinched together so you know exactly where it is. And what we need to do is somewhere between where the join is, so this little bit where they both overlap, so we need to cut a section up here, okay, like there, and then on the opposite side, on the other piece, find where the cut is, okay, there, and then on this piece from the bottom, which is there, cut up, not all the way, just cut good distance up, okay, so something similar to that, just leaving about a centimetre, and likewise on the other side, where is my other line that I need, is that it there? So yeah, if I just double check in the base, so it's there. So I do the same again, so cut up, leaving about a centimetre from the top. Okay, and then what we do is when we squidge them round, we can slot them in like a little bit of a jigsaw. Okay, and then that will hopefully keep your shape, and you can stick it in the bottom of your cup and it keeps its shape. Okay, so once that's done, the next thing we need to do is on both sides, near the bottom, just cut a little V out in the bottom, okay? And I'll explain why we do that. So a little bit that way, and a little bit that way. And likewise on the opposite side, do exactly the same. A little V. Okay, so there, if you can see, I've done a little V there, and on the opposite side, I've done exactly the same. And that needs to be on the bottom of your container, okay? So we then slip that back in, and the key piece for that is that will allow any fuel, when we come to use it as a solid fuel burner, seeps out into this outside area and will make a better burner for us. Okay, so if you do that, and then we'll be back shortly to show you the top part. Okay, so now we need to do something with the top part of the burner, and for this part we need to drill little holes all the way around this area at the top. Ideally you want to do 16, around that kind of number, and the way I do it is just basically think of a clock. So start at 12 o'clock, then do 6 o'clock, do 3 o'clock, do 9 o'clock, and then just keep going halves all the way through. Try and make sure you put them at exactly the same part around the tin in terms of the height. This can be done by drawing a line, or in this case I'm just going to follow the line of the writing all the way around. So again, this is a part where you might need some help by a parent. So obviously we need the drill and a drill bit, and we just need to carefully and slowly drill some holes through the can. So I'm going to drill one to show you, and then I'll carry on and then show you the end product. So here we go. Okay, so as you can see, there's my first hole. Okay, and I'm going to keep going round, drilling more holes until I've done the desired amount, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, as you can see, I've now drilled all the holes into my coke can burner, and that is the top part of the can finished. Now the fun bit and the tricky bit is trying to put all three parts together. So we've got the top, we've got the bottom, and we've got the centre insert. Okay, so let's see how easy they're going to be to put together. Let's just fix that. Okay, so we have the bottom. Make sure we're placing the V's sides on the bottom of the can. Okay, so that's in, and now trying to get the top in. So the top ideally needs to go within the bottom, and if you look in the middle, there's like a little rim round there, so that needs to sit on top of the centre channel that we've created. Okay, so let's see how we get on. So it's a case of just feeding it in slowly, bit by bit. It can be fiddly. Watch out for the sharp edges on both sides of the cans. And then let's try and wiggle it in. Okay, like I said, it can take a little bit of time. It isn't the easiest of things to do, so ask for help from your parents with this bit, because I am struggling. I've made lots of these and it isn't going in as straightforward as I would have wanted. So I will come back when I have completed it. So watch this space. Okay, so I finally got there. Here's my completed coke can burner. Okay, it's nice and compact. It will fit in your survival boxes really nicely for when we do stuff. So as you can see, if you look inside, you can see the little V that I cut out at the bottom of the inner chamber. Okay, which is good. And then the holes are all secured within that outside chamber between the two layers. And that's where the pure heat will come from as the gases come up through and burn. Okay, so what the final task I want you to do is, with the candle provided, I want you to light it, pop it in your burner and see if you can boil some water. Post your videos, have fun, but most importantly keep these safe, because we will use these in the years going forward. Okay.